Hello racing fans, I'm the Ace of Pace, Ray Wallin, here to talk pace for the 2018 Kentucky Derby. Today we'll look at the likely pace scenarios for the first leg of the road to the Triple Crown, Saturday's 12th race from Churchill Downs, the 144th running of the Grade 1 Kentucky Derby for 3-year-olds at 1.25 miles over the main track. Now for a quick look at this field that has a ton of great storylines. You've read the stories, you've heard the hype, you know the players in this field, so let's get right to the race itself. I've identified 3 likely pace scenarios for this race. In the first scenario, the early pace will be weak. The race will set up for a horse that's sitting roughly 2 to 5 lengths off the pace. In the second scenario, the early pace is stronger but still weak, and the race sets up for a big closer. Lastly, as with every race, the final pace scenario is chaos. The horses heading to post here have never tried this distance before, are maturing 3-year-olds that are constantly improving, and are being asked to run a faster pace than many of them have already seen. With a field of this size, there's an increased chance for something to happen that will negatively impact the race, such as bumping or checking out of the gate, or too much traffic for a horse to sustain a late bid. In last year's Kentucky Derby, 12 of the 20 starters had some sort of trouble in their final running line, and historically on average, about half the field has had some sort of trouble trip in the Kentucky Derby. In my most likely pace scenario, by the first call, the 2-week front runner should be out on the lead, promises fulfilled, and flame away. Justify and Provazo will be giving chase with Mendelssohn sitting a few lengths back early. Bolt Doro and Noble Indy should be setting in about 3 lengths off the lead. Magna Moon, Audible, Good Magic, and Entice make up the mid-pack. Hofburg, Solomini, and Lone Sailor would be next. Instilled Regard, Free Drop Billy, Combatant, My Boy Jack, Blended Citizen if he draws in, Farns Fire, and Vino Rosso will bring up the rear. At the second call, the early speed is faltering. The front runners give way to Mendelssohn and Justify. Audible starts to move up. Hofburg, My Boy Jack, Lone Sailor, Noble Indy, and Vino Rosso all start to make a move. By the stretch, Mendelssohn should be on or near the lead and battling with Audible. Bolt Doro has stayed on and will find himself near the front of the pack along with the surging Hofburg. I expect Noble Indy to be up close at this point but running flat. Justify will be giving way as closers start to make bigger moves, such as Lone Sailor, Solomini, and My Boy Jack. As they hit the wire, I expect Audible to get past Mendelssohn and hold off the strong late runs of My Boy Jack and Hofburg. Bolt Doro, Noble Indy, and Magnum Moon could still find themselves running at your exotics late. Solomini will close well, but likely still be short. In pace scenario number 2, the difference would be that the early speed is tougher for the pressers to handle, which would set up the race better for a strong closing run. My Boy Jack and Hofburg would likely be the benefactors of such a condition, with Lone Sailor finding his way into your exotics. Thanks for watching and listening. Feel free to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google+, at US Racing, through my blog, or on my website, www.theaceofpace.com. As always, remember to check the track conditions and adjust for any scratches or changes before placing your wagers. Good luck and enjoy the race.